Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Wavy Pod. My name's Lucia, and I'm your host. And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing all about goal setting, all about accomplishing your goals, and making sure that you set the right goals in order for you to achieve them, the right mindset that you need to have when it comes to goal setting and actually accomplishing your goals and getting after your goals every single day. Because apparently there's a study out there by Strength University that says that only 8% of people accomplish their New Year's resolutions. So that's a very low number. And although you can probably come up with some sort of study that contradicts that study, we know 100% that that number of people who actually accomplish their New Year's resolution is very, very low. And why is it so low, you may ask yourself? Because at the beginning of the year, we're always excited about accomplishing our goals. We're excited about a new year, new you. And we're excited about a clean slate. And we just want to get after our dreams and get after our dream life and making sure that we accomplish everything that we said on, that we put that on that paper. And little by little, we start to lose that motivation. Little by little, we're like, okay, where are my goals? What's happening? We want it to happen fast. Like, we're 2 months in 2024, nothing's happening, and we want it right now. Like, what is happening? We start to lose the motivation. We start to not do the things that we need to do and we said that we were going to do in order for us to accomplish our goals. We start to get a little demotivated at this point, and we're like wondering whether we're capable enough of accomplishing our goals, wondering whether we are enough to accomplish our goals. We start to wonder all of these things and not realize that we're probably approaching goal setting the wrong way, and that we have the wrong mindset when it comes to goal setting and accomplishing your goals and doing the daily things that are required from you in order for you to be able to accomplish your goals. So today we're going to be talking all about that. Today we're going to be talking about all about goal setting, actually setting the right goals, and the mindset required in order for you to be able to accomplish your dreams and accomplish your goals. I decided to make this episode because we're 2 months in 2024, and I'm assuming that you're the type of person that right now is probably wondering, like, what is happening? It's been 2 months already into 2024 and I haven't seen any changes in my life. I haven't seen a little bit of progress yet. I am wondering when the heck are my goals actually going to happen, because I've been doing this consistently for the past 2 months and nothing is happening. And so you start to get less and less motivated. That motivation that you had at the beginning of the year, that excitement to get started and get going that you had January 1st, 2024, is getting smaller and smaller, and it's starting to disappear. And so this is when the worry starts. At the end of quarter one, which is at the end of March, this is when people start to drop off. This is when people start to decide that, you know what, it's not even worth it to begin with, or I just can't even think about it anymore because nothing has happened. It's just not working. Maybe I need to approach it differently. Maybe I need to try something else because what I have been doing for the past 3 months, it's not working, you know? So at this point, the first thing that I'm going to be telling you, and this is probably the most important one, and this is going to set the tone for the rest of the episode. In order for you to be able to accomplish your goals, in order for you to be able to accomplish your dreams, you don't need motivation. You can't depend on motivation. Motivation is going to do nothing for your goals. Like, if you're depending on motivation to go to the gym and eat healthy and make money and start that business and get that job interview, motivation is not going to help you, because motivation is not your friend. Okay? Motivation is going to come as it pleases and leave as it pleases. One day you're going to have all the motivation in the world and you're going to be like on top of the world, like, I can do anything and I'm super motivated and I'm going to go work out for 2 hours today and I'm going to be tracking all of my meals today and I'm going to be starting that business right now, and just, you're going to be so excited to get this going. But the second that motivation ends and your actions go in accordance with that motivation, then the motivation is going to disappear and all of your actions are going to disappear with it, which is usually what happens. So what do we need to do instead? What we're going to do is we're going to be disciplined. Depending on discipline means that you're going to do something whether you want to or not. You're going to do that action. You're going to do what you said you were going to do consistently every single day, whether you feel like it or not. Okay, you didn't want to wake up at 6 a.m. every single day because it doesn't feel nice, it doesn't feel comfortable, it's not the vibe, you know. Who wants to wake up at 6 a.m. to go to the gym? Like nobody, right? Nobody. It just doesn't feel good. There's no motivation whatsoever to go and do that. What's going to get your butt out of bed and into the gym? Discipline. Just you telling yourself that that's exactly what you were going to do. And if you listen to my last episode about confidence, that was one of the things that I told you specifically that you needed to do in order for you to have that confidence within yourself, which is following through with the things you promised yourself. And if you promise yourself that you're going to wake up every single day at 6 a.m. so you can go to the gym, you need that discipline. You need to count on that discipline and in trusting yourself and in having that confidence within yourself that you're capable enough of accomplishing that. And gaining that confidence, as you keep doing that little by little, you're going to gain that confidence within yourself. And you're going to have that discipline that is required in order for you to be able to accomplish your dreams and your goals and have your dream life. But it takes discipline, whether the outcome comes or not, whether you can see the results already or in a year. But you have to consistently be doing the thing over and over and over and over and over again until you can see the results. And your motivation is going to come and go every day, every week, every month, but the discipline is not. So counting on discipline is the one thing that is going to get you there. And so for everybody that tells me like, oh my God, yeah, I wish I could do that, but I lose the motivation to do it. Of course, we all do. Everybody loses the motivation to do it. What gets them to keep going is the discipline that they have for the things that are important to them. And I do have this specific thing that I ask myself, and it's essentially a harsh mantra, because mantras are usually very nice, they make you feel good. They make you feel like a fresh breath of air. They make you feel cozy, like they just feel really nice. But I do have this specific mantra that's kind of like a slap on the face that reminds me like, okay, get out of your head and keep going. Whenever I tell myself that I don't want to be doing something or that I don't want to do something, I remind myself like, okay, well, how bad do you want it? Because if you can't get yourself out of bed to do this thing, then maybe you don't want it that bad. You know, like ask yourself, potentially I don't want it that bad. Potentially this thing is not as important to me. So let's just leave it and keep sleeping. Or keep sitting on the couch watching Netflix because it's comfortable, because it's nice. And I want to be enjoying my day doing this. So if I prefer and if I'm choosing that comfortable feeling over my goal, then that comfortable feeling is potentially more important to me than my goal at that specific moment, because I'm choosing that over my goal, right? So I just ask myself, well, how bad do I want it? How bad do I want that thing? And that is what gets me going. That is exactly what makes me be like, no, I need to get up and go do it. Because if I choose not to, then potentially I don't want it that bad. So again, that mantra, whenever you don't feel like doing something, ask yourself, how bad do I want it? And just remind yourself that whatever you're choosing to do over your desire, over the activity that's going to help you to achieve your goals, you're choosing that activity that you're doing right now, the comfortable activity, laying on the couch, watching Netflix, eating bad, whatever it is that you're choosing over, you're making that a priority at the moment. And mind you, it's all going to be a balance. It's all going to be like, okay, hey, it's Saturday and I want to enjoy myself. I don't want to be doing I was very good Monday through Friday. I did what I needed to do Monday through Friday, but that's why it needs to be in accordance to your goals. Your goals need to be balanced. It can't be a cold turkey cutting it out. Hey, I am completely not drinking for the entirety of January and February, and March I'm going to go crazy. That's an extreme. That's cold turkey. And those things are not sustainable at all. So you need to set your goals in a way that is going to be a change in your lifestyle. You need to integrate your goals into the activities that you can do consistently in the long term. Not something that is going to be for a month or two, because the second that you completed your 2 months and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do it for 2 months, and then completely cut it out for 2 months. The second you're over that jail period that you gave yourself, you're going to go crazy. You are. And it happens. I see it all the time when friends do it with drinking, when people do it with a diet. Like once the diet's done, you go back to your normal eating habits. Once the drinking period jail that you put yourself into is done, binge drinking every single weekend. You're worse than you were at before you went into this period of prohibiting yourself of doing that activity. Which is why it's so important for you to be able to make these goals very attainable, very achievable, and sustainable, which is the most important part. It needs to be sustainable for a long period of time. I've studied goal setting so much throughout the years that I feel like I've got it down pat. I feel like I could talk about this forever. It's not going to be super organized, but it is going to be all of my knowledge thrown at you in order for you to be able to, like, that's my main goal. My main goal is for you to gain the knowledge that I have in order for you to be able to accomplish your goals. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be breaking down your goals into different categories. Those categories could be anything that you want. And these are some of the categories that I use. You can take these exactly as I say them, or you can make your own categories. This is the way that I've always broken down my goals. So at the top of my page, get a pen and paper, and this is exactly how you're going to be writing down your goals. At the top of the page, you're going to be putting any activities that you want to be doing every single day. So for example, you want to read 5 pages every single day. You want to journal for 5 to 10 minutes, and you want to meditate for 5 minutes every single day. You want to do, another one that everybody likes to do is the 10,000 steps. Okay, those are going to be your daily activities, and you want to ensure that you do those every single day. So I like to put those in a separate bracket because I know that I'm going to be doing those every single day. Okay, underneath that bracket of like my daily activities, I start out with like personal goals, professional and business goals, financial goals, spiritual goals, and then social and friendships. Okay, those are my specific categories. You can do more categories if you wanted to. You can break down any of these categories. You can do whatever you want with these categories. You can take them exactly as I just told you. But what's important is that underneath each of these categories, you have 3 to 5 goals and not more than that. If you see that you have more than that, you can break down each of those buckets into like even smaller buckets so that you make sure that you do have 3 to 5 goals into each of those categories. So if potentially under family and friendship you have 10 goals, you're going to break down into maybe potentially just one bracket is going to be family and your other bracket's going to be friends, so that you have 5 and 5. You get me? You take the time to think about your life, think about your everyday, think about your goals, think about what your best self looks like, think about what future you a year from now looks like, and write down those specific goals for each category. Underneath each category, you got to get clear with that. Right before I'm setting my goals, I will do some sort of meditation, or I will do a tapping meditation. And I do a tapping meditation because it regulates my nervous system. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling like you're not capable enough, if you're feeling not confident enough, then you don't want to be setting goals at that point. But if you do some sort of tapping meditation, if you're meditating, if you want to make sure that you go and add it with a clean slate, then do some sort of a meditation. Do something that is going to help you to be in your best mental space. Or if you're just not in the right mental space, wait until you are. But I will do like a 5-minute tapping meditation, then I will do like a regular meditation, and then start writing down my goals step by step, bracket by bracket, making sure that I tap into everything that I wanted to. I go back into prior years to see if I want to pull anything over into this year as well that I wouldn't be doing as well. Once you've finalized all of your goals, now it comes into the juicy part. The next step is to treat your goals like a business treats its financial statements. The way that businesses treat their financial statements is they have monthly financial statements, they have quarterly financial statements, and they have yearly financial statements. And so we want to treat our goals the same exact way. But something that is very, very important that I started doing this year, actually, I think I started doing it last year. Something that's very, very important that I started doing last year is that I set specific goals that I had written down into different quarters. So I won't just have all of my goals, that big, you have all of those 5 to 6 brackets with all of your goals underneath that And then you have all of these goals that you want to accomplish this year, right? Each quarter, I'm going to grab 3 to 7 goals and focus on those goals for that specific quarter. And each quarter is 3 months. Okay, so quarter 1 is January, February, March. Quarter 2 is April, May, June. Quarter 3 is July, August, September. And quarter 4 is October, November, December. So each quarter has specific goals that I'm going to be accomplishing. So you're going to be looking at your goals in 3 months at a time, so that you don't see this big picture and overwhelm yourself. So you don't see this big list of things that you need to accomplish for the entirety of the year. And a year is such a long time. A year can get so overwhelming. And the second that you see that it's February and you haven't accomplished half of your list and you haven't accomplished like at least 3 to 5 goals, you're like, what is going on? Like, what is happening to me? What am I behind? What can I change? What can I do better? And you start wondering all those things, and potentially nothing was wrong. Potentially the way that you were looking at it and the way that you were writing them down and the way that you were anticipating it to happen is not the right way to look at it. The right way to look at it should be little by little and step by step. It shouldn't be this full-on huge list that you're going to accomplish for the entirety of the year when you don't even know what's going to happen in July. You don't even know if potentially something happens and you move in July because you had a huge opportunity in Atlanta and you're going to move, and like all all of your goals just automatically change like this. It's just too long term. It's just too mentally, it's too long for you to be able to make it sustainable for that long. So if you make it little by little, piece by piece, it makes it so much easier. So if you make sure that we're in Q1 right now, if you're just looking at 3 to 7 goals for Q1, January, February, March, that is so much more sustainable than looking at 12 months. 12 months is so long. And with that, we're also going to take into consideration that we're going to grab any big goals that we have and break them down into tiny, teeny goals as well. So if you have a big goal, which is start a business, like that's your goal, that's such a big goal. Like, what does that entail? You can literally ask ChatGPT, what are the different steps that I need in order for me to achieve my goal of starting my business? And ChatGPT is going to give you a list of starting an LLC, getting banks and getting the bank account for it, getting the website, blah, 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 all of these things. And so you're going to write down, and this is the next tip. The next tip is going to be grabbing your big goals and breaking them into tiny, teeny goals. Once you have all of those little tiny, teeny goals, you're going to allocate them. So in Q1, I'm going to make sure that my business is well set up. For Q2, I'm going to focus on the setup of my business. This potentially is very long term, but this is just a hypothetical example. Q2, I'm going to focus on the setup of my business and looking for the manufacturing companies and getting samples and making sure this is good and traveling to this place to look at the materials and blah, 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 blah. In Q3, I'm going to focus on the launch of my business. And in Q4, I'm going to focus on the marketing of my business. So little by little, you're grabbing all of these specific goals, allocating them to specific months, ensuring that each tiny, teeny goal has a specific date. And so giving yourself a specific deadline, a specific date in which you're going to have these goals, have these activities completed, is going to help you to stay on track, because everything has its specific date. And you can't go from step 1 to step 3 without going through step 2, you know? Like, you got to go 1, 2, 3. And then little by little, you're going to get to that final stage in which you got to that goal of starting a business. But you can't get to that goal of starting a business. And if you're overwhelming yourself with the whole idea of like, oh my God, I got to start a business, and you don't even know what to do and where to go. And like, it's March and you're like, what is happening? I haven't done anything, because you didn't give yourself anything that was, 1, sustainable, 2, something that you can track and it's measurable, and 3, it's something that's attainable. You gotta ensure that every single goal that you have, that you can break it down, and especially if it's big like that, that you can break it down into little tiny teeny goals and allocate those teeny tiny little goals into specific dates that you're giving yourself in order for you to achieve them. Another tip is that we're going to test a hypothesis on the actual activities that we're going to track down in order for us to accomplish our goals. So let's say you have, for example, you have a goal of losing 10 pounds. Let's give ourselves that very, how do you say it? Cliche. That very cliche, a goal that everybody puts themselves, that you want to lose 10 pounds. In order for you to be able to lose 10 pounds, you got to test a hypothesis, because potentially what took somebody else to lose 10 pounds, it's not going to be the same thing that it's going to take you to lose 10 pounds. So you're going to test a hypothesis and say, okay, this is exactly how I think I'm going to lose the 10 pounds. And you're going to write down the goals that it is required from you to lose those 10 pounds. It's going to be something that it's sustainable, attainable, realistic, and that you can break it down into little tiny teeny goals. So that goal of like, I want to lose 10 pounds. 1 is going to be potentially counting your calories every single day. 2, making sure that you're in a calorie deficit. 3, making sure that you do your workout of the day or work out 3 to 5 times per week. And ensuring that you have your body weight workouts, your yoga, your Pilates, blah, 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 whatever it is. You have those goals written down for you. Then you're going to go, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to be doing hot yoga. Tuesday, Thursday, I'm going to be doing weight training at the gym. Saturdays, I'm going to be going for a 1 mile run. Whatever it is, you have your specific goals. Plus, you're also tracking your calories, making sure that you're in a calorie deficit. And that's exactly how you're going to test your hypothesis in the first month and the second month. So after you go into your first and second, so after you hit a month of doing this, okay, again, we can get that instant gratification that we all want. All of accomplishing your goals takes a long time, and accomplishing your goals is in the long term. It's not going to happen immediately. That's not sustainable. So after a month of doing this, you're going to test that hypothesis. Okay, so I did this, and that. I was in a calorie deficit of 200 calories per month, of 200 calories per day. And following this specific structure, I was able to lose 3 pounds. Okay, now you can take the hypothesis that you did, and it's not a hypothesis anymore. It's something that you turn into an actual stat for yourself. So now you know, if I do these things consistently every single day, taking the weekends off and doing whatever I want on the weekends potentially, I know that I can lose 10 pounds in that month, right? So next month, you can potentially continue doing the same thing or be a little bit more aggressive, or you can adjust your goals accordingly. Testing these hypotheses and ensuring that you do a look back every single month is going to ensure that you stay on track. It's going to ensure that you're going the wrong way and that you're not doing activities just for the heck of it. It's going to ensure that you do activities that are going to actually make an impact on your goals, on your daily life, on becoming your best self. Because potentially we might think that you did this thing, so therefore you should be getting that result. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it works for some people and sometimes it doesn't work for others. So testing the hypothesis is so important for you to realize, like, okay, that worked. And then if it didn't work, you could see like, okay, that avenue does not work for me. Potentially, I can now discard that avenue and I can look into other avenues that are actually going to work for me. And that's what leads us to our next tip. And our next tip is to look at failure and to look at something not working out as something super positive. Like that specific thing of that didn't work out now can be discarded. Like imagine someone giving you the guide of telling you like, hey, that avenue doesn't really work. Like no one can give you that answer by yourself. No one can be in your shoes, in your body, in your life, testing things that are actually going to work. And the more you test things that don't work, the closer you get to the one that is actually going to work. So that one failure, if you want to call it a failure, is so good. It's so amazing because now you're realizing, look, okay, that didn't work. What can I do instead? What can I tweak? What can I change? Or potentially like, hey, I hated that. Or hey, that's not important to me. I did that thing. Now I realize that I don't really care about that. Like that's not really that important to me. So let's deviate from that and go into what actually matters to me, which I think it's this, which is why we need to take action, which is why we need to keep going and trying these things and do them consistently and do them in the long term, because that's the only way that you're going to realize what your best self looks like. That's the only way that you're going to take steps in order to get to your best self, in order for you to get to your final goal. It's by action, it's by doing, it's by failing, it's by making sure that you're trying and discarding these options and ensuring that you're getting little by little creating the roots of the plant. Little by little, you're like building the soil and watering the seeds and ensuring that the roots are growing and growing and growing. You can't see anything yet, but you're building that base. And that base requires for you to fail. That base requires for you to realize what you like and don't like. That base requires for you to understand what your goals are, what you admire, what you don't, what you care about, your beliefs and your principles and the things that you believe in. And little by little, you're going to see the roots grow bigger and bigger. And then little by little, the little plant's going to be coming out. But that's after a long time of doing the thing consistently over and over and over and over again. And I always like to repeat this phrase because it's so impactful. Like every time I say it, everyone around me is like, damn, that's so true, And that's like, and that phrase is, I don't really know who said it originally, but that phrase is, it takes 10 years to build an overnight success. So those people that you see that just blow up immediately because of something that they did, and you're like, oh my God, that's an overnight success. Like, look at that. They just got it immediately like that in one day or in a week or in a month, when you're over here working for 2 years, but you don't realize that that person has been working for 10 years. And everything just aligned for this person to become an overnight success, but they've been working for the past 10 years to get there. And now our next step is going to be to detach yourself from the things that you cannot control. Okay, that one's huge. That one's huge. If you cannot control it, then what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to just go over there to a corner and cry because that thing that you cannot control is not helping you go towards your dreams? No, you're going to be an innovator and you're going to think, okay, that specific thing is out of my control. So what can I do different in order for me to either, considering that thing that is uncontrollable, that I have no control over, I can still get to my goals. Now we're going to think outside the box. Now we're going to think like an innovator and figure it out. A few examples of things that you cannot control are things such as the economy, inflation, AIs, and new technologies that are going to come out, new advancements, family responsibilities, any other responsibilities that you may have, any natural disasters. There are a lot of things that could be potentially out of our control, and we need to take those things into consideration, because if you cannot control, you can't really, like, it's going to be stressful, yes, like, but you can't just dwell on it and give up on your goals because of those things. Okay, you can't focus all of your attention and your soul and your pride into those things because you can't control them. Like, what are you going to do? Think about them? Like, you literally can't control them. You're going to think about them, and then they're just going to put you in a bad mood, and then they're just going to make you not be in that same frequency that is required in order for you to be your best self, in order for you to be able to accomplish your goals. So if you can't control it, don't try to control it. Take it into consideration and be an innovator and think about ways that you can apply those new changes, apply those new things, take on those responsibilities that you may have, befriend those new laws and those technologies. Whatever it is, be an innovator and try to integrate those things in a way that is going to aid you or help you to achieve your new goals. Acknowledge their potential, acknowledge their impact, acknowledge that impact that it could have, and either befriend it, use it as a tool, or prepare. Be flexible, resilient, and adaptable when it comes to things that you cannot control. Which is exactly why I told you to take your goals exactly like a business treats its financial statements. Okay, one step at a time. And the companies become very flexible. Companies figure out all of these things as well. So your goals are like your business. Okay, if something happens in March and a law changes in the middle of you planning out your business, we need to figure it out. You can't control that thing. So befriend it or adapt to it. Be flexible. but don't let it take over. Don't let it make you give up on your dreams. And the last thing that we have is that we're going to track down all of the progress that we have done towards our goals every single day. The way that I like to track my goals, and this has been one of the most efficient and most amazing things that I have done in order for me to be happier with my progress that I made towards my goals, happier with the things that I need to do every single day in order for me to be able to achieve my goal. Okay, so I have these big boards that I have in front of my desk, and I love looking at them every single freaking day because I know exactly what I need to do for that specific day, and it motivates me and it makes me happy. And although we're not counting on motivation, it is a nice perk to have. The way that these boards work is that I do them in a monthly basis. So at the beginning of every month, I will create these boards and have my goals for that specific month going down in a vertical way. Next to each specific goal, I will have a checkbox. So if I need to do that specific goal 12 times that month in order for me to achieve that goal, then I'm going to have 12 check boxes, and I'm going to be checking off each box as I complete that goal. And that just visually is so appealing. Visually, it makes me so happy. Visually, it just makes me want to check that checkbox and accomplish that goal every single day, or however many times that I have that checkbox for that month. An example, if I want to be posting 30 TikToks for the month of February, then my goal is going to be post 30 TikToks for the month of February, and I'm going to have 30 checkboxes. So every single time and every single day that I post a TikTok, then I'm going to mark a little checkbox and mark it done. And then again, done. And then again, done. So at the end of the month, I can see, okay, for the month of February, my goal was to post 30 TikToks, and I actually got to do 20. Okay, so 20 out of those 30 check boxes. So that way, also at the end of the month, once the month is complete, I can go back and look at how many times I did my goal, how many times did I accomplish the things that I said I was going to do. And that's going to help you be more visual and be more realistic with the things that you're telling yourself you're going to do. So if you didn't grow the way you wanted to, if you didn't get to that specific goal, you can clearly see and count how many times you did that item and realize why you're at where you're at. So you're at where you're at because you didn't do the full thing, potentially. And if you did do the full thing and you didn't get the results that you wanted, again, that's where that hypothesis comes, because you're creating these goals with a hypothesis in mind. You're creating these goals saying like, okay, if I post 30 TikToks in 1 month, then I'm going to grow a specific amount of followers, right? And potentially it doesn't happen. You did post the 30 TikToks, but that didn't happen. So, okay, you're going to look at your strategy. You're going to look at different avenues. You're going to look at different things and try to figure out like what was it that went wrong? You know, what was it that didn't happen? But you have to be detached from your emotions. You have to be in a very neutral state where you're more analytical of these things. And if you look at that thing and you see that you only posted 10 times out of the 30, like that's your answer. You know exactly what happened. You didn't come through. But if you don't take count of these things and the end of the month comes along and you realize that you didn't achieve that goal, but you don't really know why, because you didn't take a measure of it. You didn't count it. You don't have an idea of how many times you did that thing that you wanted to do, then it's harder for you to realize why you didn't come through, why it didn't happen. But by having these boards, and you don't have to get a huge board. You could just do it on a piece of paper and ensure that you track these things. But tracking your goals is so important, because it's going to give you a visual representation of where you're at, of why things are happening, of why some things work and some don't, and how many times you're actually doing these things, because our minds trick us. You might think that you're doing this every single day, but the second that you look at your sheet and you're like, oh crap, I only worked out 5 times this month. Like I felt like I worked out 25 times this month. But no, it was only 5 times. You know, and you think one thing, but the paper says otherwise. So that's why it's so important for you to track everything and make sure that you're having all of these things down so that you can go back and check what happened. And that is all we have for this episode. If you enjoyed this episode and you made it all the way till the end of this episode, first of all, I'm super proud of you. Okay, because this means that you're one step closer to becoming the best version of yourself. This means that you're one step closer to accomplishing your goals and becoming and having that dream life that you've always wanted. Now you have so much more knowledge than you did 30 minutes ago, if that's how long this episode is. I'm not really sure. But I am so proud of you. And if you made it all the way till the end of this episode, comment a little running emoji on my last post on Instagram so that I know that you made it all the way till the end of this episode. And leave me a review wherever it is that you're listening to this. And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my channel because more of these are going to come. And I'm so happy to have you guys along. I'm so happy that you're here. And I love that you're here. And I love that you're trying to better yourself. Have the most beautiful morning, afternoon, night, whenever it is that you're listening to this. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.